Good morning, math friends. This is a quick video on multiplication as scaling with fractions and it's basically explaining the product of two fractions, understanding what the product's going to be based on what the fractions that you're multiplying together are. Now I'm putting this one on YouTube again because I'm still trying to figure out how to record from my phone on Google Meets and then send it off to you. So I apologize. I'm still working on it. Be patient. All right, so the first thing you can think about is probably the most simple of multiplying, and that's two whole numbers. So let's do 2 times 3. So 2 times 3 equals 6. We obviously know that. And what this means is 2 taken 3 times. So if I have 2 cookies on this plate, 2 cookies on this plate, and 2 cookies on this plate, that's 2 cookies taken 3 times, 2 plus 2 plus 2, right? Which equals 6. That's pretty simple. So 2 is less than 6, and 3 is less than 6. So when you multiply 2 and 3 together, you're going to get a product that is more than both of those factors, right? This is a factor, this is a factor, this is the product. So because both of these numbers, 2 is greater than 1 and 3 is greater than 1, your product is going to be greater than both those factors. Now that sounds confusing, but when you really just think about it, it's pretty simple. So let's take a look at two mixed numbers. So let's do 1.5 times 2.5. Okay, so actually let's do 1.5 times 2. So a mixed number times a whole number, right? So we know that 1.5 is also equivalent to 2/3 times 2. This is going to equal 6 over 2, which equals 3. Now again, this product, or this factor right here, and this factor right here, are both greater than 1, correct? So your product is going to be greater than both those factors. This is the product. Because both those factors are greater than 1, the product's going to be greater than both the factors. All right, so now let's try taking a fraction, something that is less than 1, and multiplying it by a whole number. Okay, actually let's do 3. All right, so this is a fraction that is less than 1. So this factor is less than 1, and this factor is greater than 1. Our answer, if we multiply those together, is 3/2, which is 1.5. Now, if you look at this product is greater than this fraction, but it is less than this factor, right? So this product, 1.5, is greater than 1/2, but is less than 3. Why? Well, because you take 3 and you multiply it by something that is less than 1, the product is going to be less than 3. Okay? Sounds confusing because there's a lot of factors, products, less than, greater than, but when you really think about it, because this 1/2 is less than 1, your answer is going to be less than this factor of 3. You're taking 1/2 of 3. So if I have 3 candy bars and I cut each one of them in half, I'm going to have less than 3 candy bars when I do that. All right, so now let's take a fraction times a fraction. So 1/2 times 1/3. Okay, so 1/2 is less than 1, and 1/3 is less than 1, okay? So you're taking like 1/2 of 1/3. So because this factor is less than 1, and because this factor is less than 1, your product is going to be less than both those factors, because you're taking a fraction of a fraction. Your answer is 1/6. Well, 1/6 is less than 1/2, and 1/6 is also less than 1/3. So your product is actually less than both your factors because both your factors are less than 1. So I know that's confusing. Watch this video a couple of times and hopefully it sinks in of why that makes sense. The practice problems you guys are going to do, I'm going to do 11 and 12 with you. You guys are going to do 1 through 10. So this one's pretty simple. It's multiple choice. So the product of 9 and 5/4 will be, all right, so 9 times 5/4. Okay, so 9 is a whole number. 5/4 is written as a fraction, but if you convert this into a mixed number, it's actually 9 times 1 and 1/4. Both those factors are greater than 1, so your product is going to be greater than both the factors. So let's see of what our choices are. It's going to be much greater than 9, slightly greater than 9, much less than 9, slightly less than 9. Well, you know it's not this one or this one. You know it's not going to be less than 9 because 1 and 1/4 is greater than 1. So you're going to get a product that is greater than both your factors. Well, basically, if you were to round this is about 1. So your answer is going to be about 9 because you're multiplying about 1 times 9. So it's going to be estimated to about 9, right? So then your choices are much greater than 9 or slightly greater than 9. Well, you know it's going to be about 9, but because you're going to multiply by the 1/2, it's going to be slightly greater than 9. Got it? All right, the next one is a word problem. Samuel spent 40 minutes reading. Matthew spent 7/10 times as many minutes reading as Samuel. Did Samuel spend more than, less than, or an equal amount to 40 minutes reading? So Samuel spent 40 minutes reading, and Matthew spent 7/10 of that time. Sorry about this. All right, so you're taking 7/10 of 40. 7/10 times 40. So 40 times 7/10. Now, when you think about it, well, 40 is greater than 1. 7/10 is not greater than 1. So you're taking 7/10 of 40. You're taking a fraction of 40. So your answer is going to be less than 40, isn't it? Because you're taking something that is less than 1, this factor is less than 1, and you're multiplying it by a whole number. So your answer is going to be less than 40. And if you want to check that and prove it, you can do that. So 7 times 4 is 28, and so that's 40 times 7 is 280, divided by 10. You can cross those zeros out. And your answer is going to be 28 minutes, which is obviously less than 40, okay? So the work you're going to do is, oh, goodness, 1 through 10 on the extra practice. It's uploaded as a PDF on your Google Classroom, and you can print them off and cut them up and do them as task cards. You can do them straight from your Google Classroom. You can also print off this multiplication to scaling recording sheet and put your answers right in those boxes and hold on to them. I'll post the answers to that on tomorrow's Google Classroom assignment, or you can just record them on a piece of paper and check your work tomorrow. Thanks, guys.